Hey everybody, today we're talking about Sandman, Book 3. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're reviewing Sandman, Book 3. This is one of the newer collections. It's very thick. It came out a couple years ago in preparation for the Netflix show. That's why it's got the little Netflix thing. And with the second season of the Sandman show on Netflix now, and all the shit that happened with Neil Gaiman, I figured let's read these, let's knock these out before I watch the end of the show. And then if I like them, okay, fine. If I don't like them, maybe I'll get rid of them. I'm not sure. Before all that stuff happened with the creator Neil Gaiman, these were considered like a lauded masterpiece, a classic of comics. And after reading this, this contains issues 38 through 56 and Vertigo previews. This is the story arcs, Brief Lives, and World's End. After reading this, I'm like, how is this a classic? Volume 1, I certainly liked a whole lot. I had read those stories, I think, twice. When I reviewed it for the channel with that video, that was the second time I read them. I think I read them in smaller trade paperbacks before. Reading Volume 2, I think I liked about half of that. And then this one, yeah, I didn't like any of it. It was not bad. It's just boring, honestly. It feels like it's a meandering thing that's going nowhere. And I really got to feel like that because he took like almost 9 issues in this Brief Live storyline to go and find his brother with delirium, who's my least favorite character, mainly because they changed the text so much with these colors and punctuation. It's kind of hard to read. That is really one of the reasons I don't like reading her dialogue, is because half the time you can't read it because it's all over the place, or there's so much of it, it makes it difficult to read the word balloon when it's all in different typefaces and fonts and sizes and things like that. But like, really, this Brief Live storyline goes like 2/3 of the book. It's meandering. They're seeking their brother destruction. You never know. You don't find out why he left. Well, of course, that's after a couple issues, but still, it's like a good 6 or 7 issues of story, and then you find him, and then he's like, all right, you found me. Peace out. See you later. Bye. And no reasoning, no nothing. I guess it'll come in the next volume, which contains the end of the series. But there's no reason for the thing other than Delirium misses her brother. And so Dream's, moping about his breakup with the girl he imprisoned in hell and freed. So he's like, all right, I'll go with you. And they go on a road trip, and you meet his son Orpheus, and for some reason he has to kill his son Orpheus. And then at the very end of that storyline, you have Desire, who's kind of orchestrating something, saying she's scared. Scared of what? We don't know. And that is very, very strange. And it's just like, okay, so you're laying some plot points that they're scared, but there's really nothing to it. Like, look how much of the book this basic storyline takes up. And it goes nowhere, nothing happens. They meet a bunch of characters, and they all have their own little silly stories, and then a lot of those characters die for no damn reason. And then they move on to the next one and tells another little silly story, and that character moves on, and that character moves on, and that character moves on. And then at the end of that one, and this is just me, this is really my reaction. You have a little this Ramadan storyline, or not storyline, it's one issue, where it's a pharaoh in Baghdad, who summons the King of Dreams to keep his city beautiful forever, and basically Dream does it as a legend, and then it goes back to basically Baghdad 1992 when this is the first Gulf War. And then you have the rest of the series doing more stories of other characters in this like stopgap world called World's End, this little tavern, telling their own stories of how they met Dream one time and he did something consequential or inconsequential for them, and then that's it. This is mainly here to have a premonition, I think, of in the last issue, this funeral with all the endless here. And I'm assuming that's the funeral for Dream at some point in time. Seems like things are moving against him a little bit, even though there's not a whole lot of setup. It's just really 1 or 2 sentences in all the dialogue contained in this mostly dialogue-heavy book. It is a long, monotonous bore of a book. So, you know, I think you could skip this one, honestly, and just know that he goes and kills Orpheus. Because I believe the Orpheus story was in book 2. Yeah, it's in book 2. It's not in book 3. And that Orpheus story I did like, but if the only thing you get out of this is Dream kills his son Orpheus, then you're good to go. Get to the next one. And hopefully book 4, which contains the build-up for the finale, the kindly ones, and the wake, which implies some sort of death, right? Hopefully that is more interesting than this one was. So yeah, this one I believe is totally skippable. You know, the art in here is typical Sandman art. There's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. It kind of comes and goes depending on your taste in art. P. Craig Russell does some stuff in here. I don't know if Mike Drinenberg did any in here. Brian Talbot, Jill Thompson does a lot in here. Vince Locke. There was one issue. The Baghdad one is beautiful. There's one issue in this Brian Talbot guy doing the World's End bar stuff. He's doing like the bookends in the tavern. His stuff is gorgeous. Mark Buckingham doing some inks on there. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. There was one artist in here. This one. I don't know what this issue was. It's literally so much text. It's about a guy wandering a city who meets Dream, and he wanders the city some more. And it's like, you know, people hated that Grant Morrison Joker issue. This is very much similar of the same thing. And it just kind of went nowhere. And then we get some weird fairy thing, and that was like, where is this going? And again, I ended up skimming a lot of these stories, to be honest, in this World's End, and just, you know, skimming them and reading the bookends to see if it went anywhere. And it was only in the very last issue that you actually got this premonition of a funeral procession and one of the other characters' girls staying in the World's End Tavern, and that was it. I was like, that is a strange, strange story. So, all in all, totally skippable. That's my thoughts on Sandman Book 3 from DC Comics and the new Vertigo line, even though this says Black Label. New, old Vertigo line. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the book. Let me know down below if I'm totally wrong. What's your favorite story in this volume, and why is it not Baghdad? Because I think that was the best one I read. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.